These are the two equations to represent the price to go to each banquet hall. So we'll call this banquet hall A, I'm calling it A, and banquet hall B. What does C represent in the equation? The cost, so the cost to rent it, and it depends on what? Number of guests. So you have to solve it. Do you want to use substitution or elimination? So we have C equals 5,000 plus 125G. C equals 7,500 plus 100G. If we are solving by elimination, remember, you must have the coefficient of either of the variables. So here's my variable G. They have to be the same. Are these the same coefficient? Is 125 the same as 100? Is that the same number? No. What number is in front of C? 1, right? So if we are going to eliminate, am I going to eliminate C or G right now? C. So what are we going to do to eliminate? Subtract, right? Because 1C take away 1C equals 0. Write the 0 there. And then we're going to subtract everything. We have 125G take away 100G. What's 125 take away 100? 25G. Then we have 5,000 take away 7,500. Do it in order. What's the answer? Negative 2,500. Okay? We good up to there? Subtract in order. Now this is just simple solving equations. How would I solve for G? I want to have G on one side and everything else on the other side. So we want to get rid of this negative 2,500 to get it away from the G, right? What's the opposite of negative 2,500? Positive. So if I get rid of it, it becomes positive 2,500 is equal to 25G. And how would I solve for G? What do I do to both sides? Divide by 25, because you're trying to isolate G. Divide by 25. So what does G equal? 100. Okay, well that's G, that's the number of guests. But to solve the linear system, we have to know G and we have to know C. Now that you know G, does it matter which equation you plug it into? No, so which one do you want to plug it into, A or B? Banquet hall A or banquet hall B? This one? Okay, so take your value of G, because this is the value that will be the same for both equations. When you have 100 guests, the cost will be the same. Okay, so plug it in and calculate C. So you're just replacing G with the answer we just got, which is 100, and you're finding out what C is equal to. So bad mass, 125 times 100 equals 12,500 plus the 5,000. What do we get? 17,500. So what does the point of intersection represent? Well, the point of intersection is 100, 17,500. This was G and this was C. What does that represent in this question? That what? That after what? For 100 guests, the cost will be what? The cost will be 17,500 for both halls, right? Point of intersection is a point that is the same for both equations. That's it. Okay, we're just comparing if you have more than 100 guests. So I just picked a number. This is more than 100, right? I'm trying to see which hall is cheaper if I have more than 100. Well, then I want to know, well, what if I have less than 100 guests? Which hall will be cheaper? I just picked the number 50 because that's less than 100. Which hall is cheaper for less than 50? So we're using the equations and you're plugging in and calculating for 150 guests for both of them and then for 50 guests for both. So if we have more than 100 guests, which hall should you go with? Which one's cheaper, banquet A or B? Banquet B. If you have less than 100 guests, which hall should you go with? Banquet A. So the more guests you get, you're going to choose banquet B. If you know you're going to have fewer than 100 guests, then you're going to go with banquet A. If you have exactly 100 guests, what was the cost? 17,000. It was the same for both. So does it matter if you have 100 guests? No.